What's going on, guys? If you are watching this now and you haven't called your leads back, please go ahead and call your leads back. Come back to us later. But I thought I'd bring on a very special guest, Bianca Bill. This girl came into the syndicate and absolutely blew us out of the water. She wrote an entire family in one day. She's definitely somebody who has taken the trainings, grasped our trainings, and went full into them. Kept her ego at the door and just knew that she needed to learn everything, and it's paid off for her. I wanted to bring her on, get her experience, and maybe just tell us a little bit about herself. And yeah, so Bianca, pleasure to have you on. For the folks that don't know who you are, do you mind just kind of going over, your experience in the industry, how long you've been in the industry, what you were typically doing for leads in your business before meeting us? And yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. So like you said, my name is Bianca. I've been in the industry now for coming up on 2 years. I started in the industry fresh out of college, really just as an in-between job. I graduated a semester early, was going into grad school that August. So I had January to August to just work and figure something out. This was the job that I landed, was accepted to grad school, got scholarships, whole 9 yards. But I ended up really falling in love with the industry. I was going to be a marriage and family therapist. So I always wanted to help people do something that was meaningful and impactful with my life, and this kind of scratched that itch for me. Plus, I could work from home. The money was definitely very different than what I would be making as a marriage and family therapist. And so I stuck with it. I declined the grad school offer for a scholarship to go to their program and just stuck with this. Before I was working with UNRL in the Syndicate, I was just doing online leads. I tried one other transfer company prior to the Syndicate, but really not a ton of experience with live transfers. It was really either direct mail leads or online leads, which was okay, but it's very different when you're reaching out, 300 times a day versus just sitting there getting calls to your phone for people who are ready.
And so, you were going into do marriage counseling. How much money would you have been making as a marriage counselor if you had like your own private practice? Is it now more lucrative in the insurance industry, or are you still looking to do that? I'd love to dive
It's definitely more lucrative in the insurance industry. Therapy is a great practice, but it is definitely a long game to make any sort of decent capital. You need to go through grad school at minimum, preferably also a PhD, which was the plan. But with very intense programs, they told me you won't be able to work for the 2 years you're in grad school. I just can't do that. I like to be busy. I like to work. And so I said, I just don't think I can not work for 2 years. So here we
are. Maybe you could just speak to some of the stuff that you were able to learn. I know you've taken other lead companies. What do you think is the difference between us? I know that we provide a fair amount of training around our leads, but is there anything that you've learned just selling insurance that you might want to share with people that are listening?
Yeah. I think the biggest difference from other lead vendors, other transfer companies that I've worked with, and then being here in the Syndicate, I think first and foremost, it is so much more, I don't know what the right phrasing would be, but just like a collective. You don't feel like you're just out there working these random leads or these transfers by yourself, and then you have your case manager checking on you, every couple weeks when they see you're not buying as many leads or something like that. You've got your support group. So you've got the chat on Discord, you've got direct access to coaches, you've got, of course, your account manager, trainings on Tuesdays and Thursdays if you ever have any questions. There's really so much support. And so if something is going wrong, it's never a matter of how in the world do I fix this by myself when I don't even know what I'm doing. It's just ask for help, do what you'll say, and 9 times out of 10 you'll be fine. You just have to show up and be willing to work. Of course, if you're going to sit there and not take calls or not do what people say, then it's kind of on you. But the support is there, the help is there. I think that's the biggest difference.
Mm-hmm.
And then second, just with the way that the calls are set up, as well as the script, I've worked other companies where the way that their marketing is already setting you up, like 100 yards behind the start line. You've got hurdles to jump over with objections right from the get-go. I had one vendor, they would advertise $1 million of coverage for $20 a month. So I'd have 65-year-olds asking for that, which we all know they are not getting that for $20 a month. So you're already behind the get-go on call one, minute one of the call, whereas here people know what you're talking about. They've agreed to be transferred. If they're incredibly busy, you can just reschedule. But for the most part, they're pretty ready to do business right then and there, which is nice.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Awesome feedback. Maybe like speaking to just like what's different about the process that we use compared to the process that you used before. I see a lot of agents when they come in, they might be going straight for qualifying a little early. They might be getting straight into just applications. What's something that you've been now added to your entire sales process, if you will, just from the trainings or even the scripting that we use?
Yeah, I think something that was really big for me that I worked on with Antoine a lot is that first like 2-3 paragraphs of the script. My natural sales process was pretty similar to y'all's script to begin with, but that first like little chunk was probably the biggest hurdle for me, just because I had a completely different opening to my script. And obviously, when you're transferred, you want to have that cohesion between transfer person and agent. You want everybody to be using the same language, to be, kind of going along the same flow. And so that was the biggest thing for me, to kind of rememorize some other little portion, or at least just remember to have my script in front of me and to say that first little part, and then, flow through the rest of it. There were a couple of things in the script that I added to what I say. There's a part where y'all talk about, and you actually list out, if you're getting cremated, did you think about A, B, C, D, E, F, G? If you're getting, actually put in the ground, did you think about A, B, C, D, E, F, G? Actually listing it out for the person is pretty powerful. So there are a couple little things like that throughout the script that I've added that have helped a ton.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, let's talk about results, because I know that you've basically had an insane day one day and basically went through the entire family. So maybe we can just even speak on that case as well, because it was pretty proud moment. We were all like, okay, girl, that was a pretty big day. Maybe you could just speak to some of the results that you've seen, monetarily.
Yeah, it was pretty instant for me. I think I think my first week was only like a half week. I want to say, I think I started on like my thing opened on a Wednesday or something like that, but I was just so excited. I was like, we're going to do it right now. I'm not waiting till Monday. But I think my first call, I think I wrote 2 or 3 apps my first day. And then that large case that you're talking about, I had a lady who called in, and her granddaughter had just recently passed away, or it's her granddaughter or her niece. And so, that's a pretty big slap in the face of why insurance is really important.
Yeah.
And so we're talking, and she starts talking to me about her fiance that she wants to get covered. I was like, cool beans. So it's this lady, her fiance, then she brings up the mom, a couple of kids. So we're already at like 4, 5, 6 policies by this point. And then never forget, she just kind of gets very quiet, and she goes, Bianca, have you ever heard of polygamy before? And I said, yes, ma'am. and she goes, okay, so it's me and my fiance who is a woman, and then this other man who was in their relationship. She's like, can I get coverage on him too? And I said, absolutely, we can get coverage on anybody your heart desires. As long as you pay that monthly premium, I will write them up for you. And so, we ended up going through everybody's insurance and everything. So it was her, the fiance, man, mom, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 kids. So I think it was 8. No, it ended up being 11. I'm missing a whole bunch of kids. It was a whole bunch of kids.
11
but
yeah,
it was a ton of kids. Yeah, a ton of kids. But it
not
was
an everyday situation, of course, but still awesome,
it was,
to say the least.
It was an interesting appointment. I had never run into that before. I'd never expected that. But she was super grateful for the help. She knew how important it was, having just paid for a huge funeral that was really financially difficult. They didn't have life insurance on the girl. So that was probably my biggest appointment by far. But other ones, it's been a lot of success as long as you sit there and you listen to what y'all say, you care about the person in front of you, you can do it.
Beautiful. Now, typically near the end of these, I like to ask, who would you not suggest join the program? For people that are thinking about joining, and the people that I guess wouldn't find the success, or maybe some of the traits that wouldn't help you find success here, who wouldn't you suggest joining this program?
Who I would not suggest, I would say if you're like super, super new, don't even know how to go through an application, like not super great with your underwriting skills on the spot. Mm-hmm. Obviously there's so much support here, you can definitely learn, but there might be a bit more of a learning curve for you at the beginning, just simply because it is on the spot underwriting. Like when I first came into the industry, it was, call your lead, get their medical information, talk with your upline, book the appointment, and then you show up to the appointment with this nice little package that you discussed with your upline for them to decide on. So you knew everything. Whereas with this, you pick up that phone, and unless they have to get off for some reason and they tell you I'm getting off the phone 3 times, you are staying on that call, you are going over why they need it, underwriting, and writing the app on the spot. Each time we let the client off the phone, our chances of getting that application, regardless of how excited they were at the time we talked about it, plummets. And so if you just have no idea what to do underwriting wise, it would be a little difficult, but we have the Discord, people are there all the time to help out. So I wouldn't say it's impossible. But I would also highly suggest to focus on that, maybe your first week, in and out of calls. The other person I would say, if you are one of those people you can't manage your time very well, like if you have your schedule and you dial, like if your prime dialing time is in the evening and that's when you have the time to do it with your life, or that's when you're energized to do it, call center is open from 9 to 5. So regardless of how much you want to take calls at 8 p.m. or you're working Hawaii and that's 3 p.m. their time, that is so great. However, you're going to be doing it on your own with the leads that you have, just due to call center times. And so if you're a late evening person, that was something for me, because I would always have my dial time from 3 to 8 p.m. That was an adjustment for me, but it's fine when you're getting 20 freaking calls a day. So
and then just to dive on that, you've probably you came in, you're at least pretty experienced with underwriting. Have you been able to get help from the other guys in how you would normally underwrite some other people? Has there been any shifts or changes in that regard in your business, or was it all a breeze because you already knew it?
I definitely think we can always learn. I've only been here in the industry for about 2 years, always room to learn. But I think the biggest thing for me that I've picked up from listening to other people and talking with other people, I now personally underwrite a little bit later in my presentation. I always kind of did it more so towards the end, but I would almost kind of break it up. So I would do, my first bit of, why we're here and going into a little bit more of the emotions. Then I would underwrite. Then I would have a little bit more questions just while I'm figuring out what the heck I'm going to present. But now I think I push that farther back even more. And then I guess you would call this financial underwriting. I guess I push a lot more on the budget. I want you to tell me like 5 or 6 times that this fits your budget, that there's going to be no problem, that this isn't going to, make you not be able to have dinner 3 nights of the month or something like that. Because it can be a lot. If you think about it, you get called from somebody who's talking about life insurance, and then you get transferred to an agent, and then we start talking about people that have died and your finances, and can you cover a funeral. It's a very emotional sale. And so, especially when it's just flung on you because you were called by a call center, and you forgot about it. And so sometimes people will get really, excited and like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm going to change my family's future and I'm going to do this. And then like 3 months down the road, they're like, yeah, I don't know about that bill that I signed up for. It becomes a bill, not a necessity. And so I do a lot more on the financial underwriting side now, just to really make sure, we can always increase down the road. But like, is this something that no matter, I think there's a line that you guys have there, even if the AC goes out or something, you can.
The refrigerator breaks, so the AC goes out.
Breaks, AC goes out. That's something I've incorporated.
Awesome. Well, I won't take up too much more of your time. I'll let you get back to the phones and get kicking some ass. If there's anything that you would want to leave the audience with, any piece of advice, I'll let you have the floor. If not, we can just let them get calling their leads too.
Sure. I think I'll say this because I did not believe any of y'all when I talked to any of you guys signing up. I'd worked with other lead vendors, one other transfer company, and the biggest thing that everybody always complains about is volume. I want my leads and I want them now. I want my transfers and I want my phone ringing. Another company that I worked with, I think I was lucky if I got 2 calls a day. And I was open all day. I was very lucky if I got 3. That was like, whew. And so when I started messaging with you and I was on, my sign up call, everybody's like, yeah, you're going to get like 8 to 9 a day. Like you need to be ready for that phone. And I was like, okay, been told this before. Hey, bud. So cute, but cool. Like I was just hoping for like 4. So I remember, I'll never forget my first day. I had finished up all of the training and I was just ready to like go live. And I said, oh, well, I can look at the script that they have and have my thing open because I'm not going to get a call for like 2 or 3 hours. So I've got time to familiarize myself with the script before I get a call. Wrong. I had barely clicked go live. And I think I read the first like sentence of the script to familiarize myself with it. And I got a call and I was like, excuse me. And so it was kind of the same thing. Like the second you click live, I mean, your phone is going to be ringing the whole day, which is great. And with that, what I would tell people is get really, really good at recentering yourself. Because with leads, we all know, like you said, if you call a lead, they might forget. They're going to tell you to F off. We've all been there with leads, with transfers. They're still there. They're still ready. But obviously nobody has 100% close ratio. Things are going to happen. People are going to be very adamant. I don't want to do this right now, whatever. And with just the nature of how quickly it goes, you need to get really good at recentering yourself. So regardless of what happened with that last call, regardless of if it fell through, they didn't like you, it did go through. Like, whatever happened on that last call, that was the last call. This call that you have now, this is a new person, this is a new family, this is a new family's either generational debt or generational wealth that you're dealing with. And so if you carry that last call into it, you're not giving them all of the focused you to truly help them out. And also you're just going to be all messed up, so whatever you have to do in the 2 seconds that you have, in the 5 minutes that you have to separate yourself and recenter, I think has been the most important thing for me, because it can be a lot talking to 8 or 9 people in a day. You're getting families mixed up, you're getting situations mixed up. It can be emotional. Obviously we all need to make money, we're all 1099 but making sure you're present with who's on the other end of that phone, not who hung up 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, which is a huge thing. And a lot of agents, they just get burnt out pretty quick. Because there's no magic wand to say, your morning calls are going to be great to follow into your afternoon calls, or that today your calls are going to be great. It's going to be a fluctuation, of course. Like, some days you're going to strike out. There's been days where people have striken out. I'm not going to say that we have some magic lead that every day you're going to just be putting up bats, but throughout the week, throughout the month, you should be able to produce a fair amount of business. Bianca, you were on your way to being a very well-known person in this industry. Your work ethic, the way you've been able to take our lessons and implement, and even our script and implement. I'm excited for the future, and I'm excited to see you just like crush it here. So not even with us, I'm just excited to see you just absolutely crush, because you are on your way. There's not very many people that can come in and implement the way that you have. So I will let you get back to the phones, and I will see you on the other side. So for anybody that is watching, obviously feel free to comment below if you're interested in chatting with us. But Bianca, appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.